why it's really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
And really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Shit, it does. Okay, so I just learned something that
That's a great way to start the stream.
It does unmute it automatically, and so I went and clicked the unmute button, and then it immediately muted me again. I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels, welcome to episode number 52 of the Degen Roundtable Book Club. The book we are covering today is Eat Right for Your Type by Dr. Peter J. Damano. It's a pretty cool book, pretty short read, as a matter of fact. I want to say it was like 4 hours long without any of the speed multipliers or anything. But it basically just talks about the 4 different types of blood that exist in the generic sense. You got O, you got A, you got B, and you got AB. And then how you can maximize your lifestyle by sort of kind of adjusting the way that you do things based off of your blood type. But before we get into that, my name is Will Stevenson. I'm an iron worker that travels around the United States building TV and radio towers. And in my free time, I like to talk cryptocurrency to find degenerates such as yourselves. Joining me tonight, we've got Mr. Zenith. Zenith is our legal and government expert here on the Degen Roundtable. We've also got Nate McGettit. He is the ascending man focused on getting better at all times and going and meeting people, doing networking and awesome things. And we've also got our fantastic producer over on the far camera left, Miss McGettit, the ideal team player in the making. She's the one that does all the cameras and all the switching behind the scenes, makes our thumbnails, does all the production stuff. She is an absolute whiz. So thank you all for joining me here today. Ladies and gentlemen, what's new and exciting with you, Mr. Zenith? What's up, bro?
Well, I think we're all still slightly recovering from our time in Vegas, depending on how long we spent out there. I may have finished off the conference by gambling until the sun came out. So that was a fun night. we were down a couple $100 at one point, but we made it all back. So good to go.
Hell yeah. I did not do any gambling over there. Nate, go ahead, Nate.
You should keep that way.
I mean, I didn't do any gambling either. Unfortunately, with all the work that we were doing, we ended up having to kind of leave at a freaking 2 o'clock in the morning, before we stayed out until 8 o'clock in the morning. Because here's the thing. Once you go to hang out with DCC and CC, right, you go all night. So, yeah, there are other responsibilities, unfortunately, this time around. But we will have fun the next time around.
Yep.
I
Absolutely.
think collectively, I averaged about 4 or 5 hours of sleep every night.
Thanks. That's not too shabby, bro. I got like the full 6 or 7 for most of the nights. So like, hey, I've heard rumor that like if you sleep in 90-minute chunks, no matter like what amount of time you sleep for, as long as it's divisible by 90 minutes, it's like hour and a half, 3 hours, 4.5, 6 hours, as long as it's divisible by that magical thing, then when you wake up, it's like at the very end of a REM cycle, and it's just like the perfect timing or something. Mrs. McGettit, though, before we get too carried on, what's new and exciting with you? How are you doing?
Well, I'm still a little bit, what's the word here? Salty that Nate wouldn't let me gamble with our $3. He had $3 in his wallet and he wouldn't give me it to put in a slot machine. I didn't get to gamble at all. And I told my landlord this because I went over and talked to her the other day about, she had a package for me. She picked up our mail while we were gone. And she ended up talking my ear off for a whole hour. But I told her, like, I didn't even get to gamble. And she's like, you know what? You go back out there. I'll give you money and we'll split the winnings when you get home. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Let's do it.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. That's an interesting way to invest in someone, is like, hey, here's some money. If you win, then I win. If you lose, then, well, no money. I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean,
rent or something.
Yeah, oh God, please no.
Don't gamble the rent money, people. You hear?
No.
The rent money.
This is not financial advice, but don't do that.
Yeah, for sure. But other than that, I am doing okay. We actually didn't get all that much sleep either, Zenith, at the event because we kept getting up early. Everything was like, 6 in the morning. And I'm like, why do you people do this? Like, no, this is not an appropriate time for people to be awake. But yeah, most of the time we were up at about 6 a.m., got into the group with everybody and started just doing whatever we needed to do. I just finished today editing the two-day streams, and I think they're planning on putting day 2 out tonight. Not positive yet, but we will see. But either way, they are ready to go. There were tons of issues, but we did what we could with what we had. So anybody who gets to watch them, just bear that in mind. This is the best we could do. We're going to do better next year, though, for sure. We've already been talking about planning for it. So
My understanding is each year it just gets better and better. So like if we just continue this trajectory in 17 years, we'll be podcasting from the moon and everyone's just gonna have it like downloaded directly into their brain in not 4K but like 16K or whatever the next resolution is. It'll be too much resolution for your eyes to handle, so it'll just go straight into the noodle. Or something like that. Anyways, it's good to have you all with us here tonight. On the subject of having you all with us here tonight, it's time to thank the rest of you guys for being on over with us here tonight. Let's go ahead and do a quick round of some chat motherfucking shoutouts. For those of you guys that are new to the show, chat shoutouts is one of my favorite parts where we get to interact with you guys that are interacting with us and show you all how much we love and appreciate you. Starting with our very good friend, Mr. Kenturian54X, my roommate while we were over in Vegas. Katurian54X says, "What's up, D-Gens? What's up with you two, good sir? You came in an hour before the excuse me, 2 hours. I can't. Man, I'm trying to do math right now. He came in an hour before the show started saying, "What's up, D-Gens?" So Mr. Centurion54X coming in first, as he often does.
54 Cent knows a little something about gambling till the sun comes up.
Oh yes, yeah. I heard stories about so the night that I went to hang out. I went to go hang out with some other folks in Vegas that were like non-cryptocurrency. There's just some friends I got down there. He was like, "Bro, we stayed up till 6 in the fucking morning," and I was like, "Man, I wish I could do both things. Like have a good time with my Vegas amigos that like are sick of gambling and don't do any of that crap, and also like hang out with the D-Gens and stuff. But there's only so much time to have in Vegas. Speaking of, I'm actually going to be heading back over that way. I got a job site about 2 hours north of Vegas that I'm going to be showing up at on Monday. So I found out about it right after we did the Whiskey Wednesday podcast. Or no, it was right before we did the Whiskey Wednesday podcast.
I think you mean right after you finished your drive all the way from Vegas back home, and now you're going back.
I was almost all the way through New Mexico on the way to Texas when my boss called me, and he's like, "Hey, we got a job in Cedar City, Utah." And I was like, "Cedar City, Utah? That sounds familiar." And he's like, "Yeah, it's right next to Interstate 15. It's like, son of a bitch, I drove over there on my way into Vegas. So it's like, God damn it. So I'm going to be driving back there tomorrow and the day after. And yeah, so I'm going to be over back in Vegas. So I suppose I'll hang out with some more of my Vegas friends. So that's some cool stuff. But anyways, let's get back to chat shoutouts before I get carried on too far. Let's see who we got next up in the chat shoutouts. So it looks like we got Farmer J. "I refuse to read a book that will tell me beer and tacos are bad for me." Good sir, beer and tacos are not bad for you. Beer and tacos are actually, and this is not financial advice, beer and tacos are the apex food on the earth. So you guys can do anything that you want to. You don't have to drink water. You don't have to eat apples to keep the doctors away. You don't have to do no ibuprofen. You don't have to even you can stay away from all that broccoli and Brussels sprouts crap if you just eat beer and tacos your entire life. You will live a long, happy, and fruitful life. Hashtag not financial advice, not nutritional advice. This is
I feel like that nutritional advice falls into the category of I drink Mountain Dew because it's healthy. Yes, there's 5% juice in it.
It's from the mountains, bro. It's dew off of the mountains. There's old Irish drinking songs about Mountain Dew. It can't be bad. But it's good to have you, Farmer Jay. Welcome to the stream, broski. We had an excellent time over in Vegas, and I'm so glad that I got to see you over there as well.
Really quick,
go
before
ahead.
you continue on the Mountain Dew subject, they had a complaint that somebody found a dead mouse in a can of soda. And you know Mountain Dew's response? "That's impossible. It would have dissolved within 3 days."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but keep telling yourself it's healthy. Just
Big
saying,
facts.
you know.
Big facts.
Correct. It would have. That's get that stuff off your teeth, folks. I heard this from one of my friends that if you drink sugary beverages through a straw or also coffee through a straw, then it doesn't stain your teeth. That
Go
was
ahead, drink coffee through the straw on a ship. See how that goes
Not
for
do
you.
that.
Oh yeah,
But
well,
that is accurate, Will.
Get
It's better for your
fucking
teeth to drink with a
roasted.
straw.
yeah. So there are no straws in the military. Let's be clear on that. You're absolutely right on that point, Zenith. Drinking coffee through it. Did you drink coffee through a straw? Were you walking around with your little like Starbucks? I got my iced coffee up over.
Nah, bro. When we're on the ship, that is black as night. That's working coffee right there, boy.
God
Yeah.
damn right, son. We only drink the coffee black. That's the best way to do it. That's how like all other coffee tastes good no matter what's in it, is if your baseline is just straight acid.
I mean, also you just have good coffee too, but
that's there is that, which is not something they have in the military. For those of you guys that don't know, an old naval
you gotta
tradition,
know a
and
guy.
I presume they do this in the Coast Guard as well, Z. But I learned from the chiefs that you don't wash your coffee cup out because the ship at some point is going to run out of coffee, and so you can take some hot water and you can pour it into your cup, which has enough like coffee residue in it, and it's acidic, so I guess it kills whatever the hell there is. But if you pour the
a
hot
tale
water,
as old as time. I would definitely never not do that and continue the tradition to this day because it makes it taste better, or at least that's what we tell ourselves.
I have a coffee cup over at my house in New Hampshire that was my the cup that I don't wash because it gets the coffee on the inside, and it's an interesting story, not hygienic, but it's definitely like one of those weird traditions that they have in the military. So
It's just one of those things.
yes, and there's actually a section of the book that we're going to be talking about coffee later, so I'm going to get to that, but it's time to get back to chat shoutouts because I've been a distracted feller.
Tangent.
I believe that this next gentleman, if I'm not mistaken, was at the Pulse Chain conference. Fox Mulder, shout out to you, broski. I'm pretty sure I saw you. I'm not positive. It's all fuzzy up here. I tell everyone, all RAM, no hard drive. But Mr. Fox Mulder shows us the stack of books. It's good to see you, broski. Welcome to the stream. And if I met you in real life, I'm glad that I did so. And if I didn't, well, I'm sorry that my memory sucks. But
if you didn't, show up next year. Hang out. It's a good time.
I have like this little thing in my head that's telling me you met that guy, and so I hope that I met you, bro. And if I didn't, then we're gonna meet at some point. I will find you. I have a certain set of skills. It's gonna be good. But it's good to see you, bro. Next up in the chat shoutouts, we've got our very own Agent J of the DGen Roundtable. Says aloha, gang. Aloha to you too, Mr. Agent J. I swung by his place earlier, delivered him a cookbook, and got to meet up with some of the Dungeons and Degens folks down there too. So that was a fun little 15-30 minute visit I had over.
Dungeons and Degens,
yeah, dude. That's what our thing is. Oh, Kenturian is actually he's our dungeon master, so it's a good time. And I learned recently that my middle brother Ed, he's actually a DM and has been DMing for his friend group for like years or something. So it's just cool to see how many people I know are like into D&D, and I know almost nothing about it. But it's good to see you, Agent J. Welcome,
real quick, folks.
Oh,
gonna do the shameless plug. Get in the Telegram. Scan this QR code right here. Get in the Telegram. You'll be able to catch all of Agent J's emergency live streams where he talks about the markets, all the TA, what's going on. If you remember, about 2 weeks ago on the Sunday show, we talked about the possibility of having another cycle low because we had our day 46 cycle low. There's a possibility of another one happening. Guess what happened? You get that information first if you hit up those live streams. So get in the Telegram, hang out with Agent J. That is the best information that you can get out there, I think.
Excellent. You're absolutely right. He's been streaming like
he's an animal. Absolute machine.
Absolute fucking machine. I've gone ahead and posted the link in the live chat. So for those of you guys watching live, if you're not already a member of the DGen Roundtable and you don't want to pull out a phone for a QR code, you can just click on that link right there, t.me/DRT join now. That will bring you right on into our Telegram, or you can scan here as Mrs. Producer has pulled up that fancy little arrow thing that I've typed in there. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Zenith. Agent J, fucking animal, giving out all the alpha, all the shits over the DGen Roundtable. Hop on in there, guys, and come check it out. But anyways, it's a good to see you, Agent J. And I see that you're talking a little bit earlier or later on about the sleep cycle stuff and the REM 90 minutes thing. So I'm just parroting something that I heard from someone else, and as far as I'm aware, it works. So it's good to think about these sorts of things, guys. Make sure that you're getting good sleep all the time. Now, let's see, what do we got next for the chat shoutouts? Oh, my friend, Your Health Unplugged, Dr. Alan Chen. Shout out to Dr. Alan Chen. Super cool, awesome guy. He's actually not terribly far away from me right now. I'm hanging out over at his place. I'm in the upstairs in one of the guest rooms, so I'm streaming from his place. So shout out to you, Dr. Chen. Hola, Degens. Make the evening amazing. P.S. Vegas and I are a dangerous combination. There is at least one hangover in my stories. Yes, he is a fantastic, fantastic degenerate, Dr. Alan Chen. Super cool, awesome cat. And I've gone to him. I've not gone to him. I've gone with him to some of the gambling places when we were down in El Salvador. And man, does this guy knows how to put on a show. So y'all should, if you ever have the blessing of hanging out with Dr. Chen, it's a good fucking time, broski. So it's good to see you, bro. And I'll stomp on the floor or like shoot a gun up in the air or send a carrier pigeon if I'm being too loud up here. But it's good to see you, broski. It's going to be a good time. But did you die? Oh man. All right. So next up in the chat shoutouts, it looks like we've got Tam. What's up, fam? What is up, Tam? It is good to see you. #1 cheerleader in the Pulse Chain community. She lets us know that she loves us. Love you guys. We love you too, Tam. It's good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Always good to have Tam in the shows in the comments. Oh, and then she says, I just heard about the SEC. Oh, was this are you I would need further clarification, Tam.
Beep. Emergency update. All right, folks.
Apparently,
the SEC did announce that they have requested a 30-day extension for their appeal. It's not that they're actually appealing or amending their original complaint, rather. They've just requested more time. Go check out Nuclear Herbs' Twitter. He has a post about it. TLDR, chill out. It's nothing. No new facts have been submitted. We're still in the same spot. They're just begging for more time.
Hang on. I've got something for this. There we go. Bam-ba-lam. That's all.
That's not a campfire story. That's an official legal proceeding.
It's a fucking campfire story.
We have the facts.
I got something better
not
for
the facts that it happened, but just like they're getting this 30-day extension. They're fucking telling themselves little campfire stories that they can do something about this. And it's like, if you watch the stream that Zenith, you and Herbs did on this, or what stream was that? Was that a Whiskey Wednesday where we had Herbs on?
No, that was the Sunday, our last Sunday show, I think, actually.
No, it was a Friday because we did it instead of this book club. It was 2 Fridays ago. We did.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was.
We read the court document on Friday. We had Herbs on for the Sunday stream.
Yeah, he did not join the court document.
Oh yeah, You're right. Okay, touche. Well, anyway,
I want to say I have something better for this reaction though. Like
Go ahead.
This is all of us right now.
Either that or the John Travolta meme where he's in the house and just looking around like.
Yep, that's a good one too. I just went with the sound effects I have here, so.
Hey, soundboard killing it. Let's go.
These SEC guys, man, they're just telling themselves little campfire stories. They're picking through that document, trying to scrape their loss off of the windshield full of bugs, which are the losses that the SEC has been collecting up lately. So they're just they I am not impressed. Mr. Well, I'm not going to dox the lawyers for the Richard Hart case. They're already doxed enough as it is, but you guys can do better than that. You guys can do better, Ben. We'll see you.
I'll put it this way: if they would like to come on and talk to us about it and explain things when all things are said and done, we would love to have you.
Yes, I would absolutely love to have I made good friends with Ben, as a matter of fact. Do you call lawyer? It's just they don't have like any titles or anything. But Ben, if you want to come on the show, bro, I'm the guy that you chatted with in the elevator, and I wished you guys good luck before you went and made your case.
Yeah, you also shook all of their hands after the hearing and gave them the classic good game.
Oh yeah, I did do that.
Absolute troll move.
Hey man, no, we got to get them onto Pulse Chain, man. We got to get them into Hex.
Fair.
If they need to be converted just as much as everyone else, you know. Love thy enemy, because they're not actually your enemies. They're just friends that help you get stronger.
Guys doing a job. We just happen to disagree with the leadership.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Pulse Chain. We love you.
Welcome to Pulse Chain, SEC lawyers. We do indeed love you. And I believe on the subject of welcome to Pulse Chain and us loving people, I'm pretty sure that is the end of the chat shoutouts. Yes, it is.
I believe so.
So I've scrolled through everything, and let's see. So next up for you guys, we've got I've got to read the summary of the book for you. So I did a fantastic ChatGPT summary, and it's actually quite good. The way that they summed this book up. So for those of you at home who did not read Eat Right for Your Type by Dr. Peter J. Damano, here is the summary right quick. So, Peter Diamano presents the idea that a person's optimal diet and lifestyle depend on their blood type. O, A, B, or AB. He doesn't focus on like the negative or the positive or anything, just the generic 4 blood types. The book argues that different blood types process food, respond to stress, and require exercise in different ways. Dr. Damano bases his claims on evolutionary theories, biochemistry, and immune system responses. And I think I'm fairly certain it's not in the summary right here, but I'm quite positive that they used a ton of anecdotal evidence from their own research and their own testing and things of that nature as well. All right, so there are here now we're going to go over the key concepts in the book. All right, so the blood type and diet compatibility. So the first type, type O, is known as the hunter. They are best suited for a high protein, low carb diet similar to the Paleolithic diet, focusing on lean meats, fish, and vegetables while avoiding grains and dairy. Type A, the second blood type, is known as the agrarian. They should follow, or they're best benefited by following a vegetarian diet with lots of fruits, vegetables, and grains, as their digestive system is more suited to plant-based foods. Type B, the nomad, is the third blood type. The nomad came, and these are also listed in historical order based on like when the blood types appeared throughout the human experience on Earth, evolution, whatever you want to call it. Type O came first; it's the oldest. Type A came after that. Type B, the nomad, is the next one. So Type B, they have a more balanced immune system and digestive tract, allowing for a varied diet variety that includes dairy, meat, excluding chicken, and some grains. And then the last one, type AB, the Enigma, is the most recent blood type that came about. It's got a mix of A and B traits, benefiting from a diet that includes seafood, dairy, tofu, and some meats, all while avoiding corn, chicken, and certain beans. One of the big parts of the book is he talks about the lectins and the antigens. The lectins are in the food. They're like a protein in the food, and then there's antigens that are in your blood vessels. And the antigens determine how your blood interacts with things in your body, and the lectins in the food determine how the food interacts with your blood. So those are two of the big components that he speaks about. And how the lectins interact differently with each blood type, potentially leading to inflammation, digestive issues, and immune responses. One of the things that he clarifies as well is there's a difference between a food intolerance and a food allergy. Food allergies have to do with your immune system, like it causes your throat to swell up, your stuff to, or excuse me, yeah, allergies are things that fuck with your immune system. Intolerances are things that fuck with your digestive tract. So, like, if you're lactose intolerant and you drink milk, the milk's not going to kill you, but it is going to make your digestive system have a very bad time. And you will learn about that if you're any sort of food intolerant. So that's the main difference between allergics and or allergies and intolerances. Um, Later on in the book, he talks about exercise recommendations and also disease susceptibility and vaccine considerations that he's noticed patterns in with his research and things. So, for the just a quick summary of the exercise recommendations for Type O, high intensity workouts like running and weight training are the most effective for Type O. Type A is calming exercises like yoga and meditation. Type B can do moderate exercises like hiking or swimming, and type AB, a mix of relaxation and moderate activity. For the disease susceptibility and blood type, there's not, I don't remember all of the specific things about that, but he did say that it's something to think about with blood types and vaccination procedures because certain blood types and antigens work better with vaccines than other ones do. So something that I just remember off the top of my head is type O blood. They don't necessarily um I think they don't create as much of a mucous membrane as type A blood. And so because type A blood creates like more mucus in their body and they have more like prolific things of that nature, then it's safer for them to get vaccinated with the stronger strains of vaccines. With type O blood, you want to use like weaker level vaccines because the body will react differently to it. So those are just some of the things that the book covers. And there's quite a bit of controversy and criticism with the book because a lot of scientists talk about scientists, nutritionists, and a couple other professionals. They they criticize that there's not a lot of like clinical trials and evidence that support a lot of the claims that are made in this book. A lot of the stuff that he talks about, I think he refers to it being anecdotal, but and just his own like personal studies, but it's not like it's nothing conclusive. It's nothing like super duper official. This is all based on like a lot of his homeopathic and holistic patterns that he has recognized through his years and his father's years as a homeopathic doctor. So in conclusion, the book promotes a personalized approach to diet based on blood type with specific food and exercise recommendations. Some people report positive results, but the scientific basis remains debated. If you're interested in trying it, it might be worth experimenting while keeping in mind broader nutritional principles. So that is the general summary of the book. And my first thing that I'm going to ask the panel as we start down this fantastic journey is, do you think that this whole blood type diet process is convincing? Are there things that you think are real? If you had to like grade it on a scale of 1 to 100, right? 100 being like, this shit is factual, it's super good, there's no way there's any doubt about this, and 0% being like total bullshit, no credibility at all. Where would you guys put this on a scale of like, I'm convinced that this is a real thing or not, the subjects or the stuff that's in this book? And I'll go ahead and toss it over to Nate there, because you've come off mute, broski. And say hello to Dr. Allen, everybody.
Yo, what's up?
Yep.
Go ahead, Nate. I'm gonna go ahead and say probably 6, and I haven't actually looked at what my blood type is, right? However, based on the book, I think I can take a really good guess, because the way that some foods affect me, I'm like, damn, that's exactly what the book is talking about. It must be my blood type, right?
So you're about 60% convinced?
Yeah, I'm about 60% convinced based on my own anecdotal self over here.
Okay.
However, I do have a list. So when I went through all the blood types, I basically got a single name for what each blood type is like. Do we want to know?
Oh,
those
yeah.
off?
Sure. Before you name those off, I will let you know that there are geographical areas that are associated with each of these blood types. So would you like me to tell you the geographical areas that are associated with the blood types before you go through the list, Nate, or do you want to give it a go?
I think yeah, I know what it is, but yeah. So there are geographical areas, and it's kind of like basically the evolution of how the blood type sort of went. And so we're going to be diving into that here real soon as well. But then there's what I came up with, and the whole idea was like, if you look at the types of foods and the types of personalities tend to go with it, and then there's a little bit of joke in it as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Are you gonna read us the list? Are you going to are you teasing us for the?
I think I'm kind of teasing right now. How about you go do the geographical stuff first, and then maybe I'll do that at the end.
I'll go with the geographic. I'll toss it to Zenith, and then Mrs. Magetta, I'll give it to you after Zenith is done. But for the folks at home that are not familiar with the geographic areas, Type O is the first one that came about. So that one, like that started. I want to say that humanity started in like the Middle East or in the European area, but Type O is everywhere. So Type O can be found all over the world. Type A is generally more like Western European. Type B is more of like Mongolia, parts of Asia, parts of Africa, and then Type AB is the most recent one, and I forgot where that one is found at mostly. But that's the basic gist of it. So, Zenith, what have you got for the for answer to the question? Do you think that this blood type diet is convincing? Scale of 1 to 100, where do you sit on the convinced or the skeptic side?
I give it the 50%. I'm right there with Dr. Chan in the chat. He also said 50 as well. So what the book does is it provides anecdotes, and it provides kind of the evolutionary pressures behind it, which makes sense. At the same time, though, it is anecdotal evidence, but to even caveat myself further, the plural of anecdotes is data. So eventually, once you get enough of that, it does make sense. But the only the major downside to this one, rather, is that there's not a whole lot of hard science behind this, and it's not peer reviewed, especially. So overall, does it make sense? Yes. Does it track logically? Yes. Are there going to be exceptions to this? Yes. And I think the reason for that one is that this is a very complex topic, and it's never going to be one single silver bullet that's going to be the magical solution for everything. But if you can start getting a multitude of factors in, that'll help you give you a more holistic approach. I think this is one of those factors. So it makes sense to me in that regards, but yeah, I'm about 50% convinced on this one. It is a convincing argument, I would say. However, I just did not see enough backing it up, and I think that there is enough skepticism, rightfully so, out in the community as well, that they also have good points.
I like your quote there, the plural of anecdotes. I'm actually writing it down in my notes for today. The plural of anecdotes is data, right? Is that what you'd said?
Yep.
The plural
That
of
is
anecdotes
correct.
is data. That's good, bro. Because like, I mean, I suppose it's all I suppose it's all, data, but like substantive data is like, at what point does a whole bunch of grains of sand turn into a pile?
Well,
It's like
if you're actually interested in that question, then the answer lies in probability and statistics. There's oh gosh, I forget the name of the tables, but there's actual sample size data tables talking about how skewed your sample size is going to be compared to the rest of the population you're trying to measure based off the number of your sample size. Obviously, the larger your sample size, the less error, the smaller standard deviation you're going to get. But if you have the smaller sample size, then yeah, it can be more skewed.
Okay. So is there a number at which like things start being believed? Like if I do a study and I've got 10 people, it's like that's useless data unless I'm on an island of 10 people.
It's not
So like,
useless, but I want to say once you start getting past 20, you start to get a lot more reliability. It's kind of like a logarithmic curve where you really approach that confidence level, but you never quite hit it. But the more you go, smaller on, you're going to have higher gains. And then once you get past like 100, the difference between like 100 and 1,000 and 10,000, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's that point where you're already at like 90+% confidence.
yeah, and after you start like increasing logarithmically, like the numbers in front of the zero don't matter. It's the number of zeros that's like that, and then that's a good point.
I mean, you still have to take everything with a grain of salt, even those high confidence sample sizes, because if you have 99.9%, that means you're 0.1% incompetent. But once you start dealing with a population size of like 1 million or maybe even 1 billion, that 0.1%, that's still a very large number.
Yeah, and like, if you've got 100 people and you give each of them an iPhone and it works for 99 of those people, you have a 1% failure rate, and you got one guy with a broken iPhone. Like, what's one guy gonna do? But like once you start scaling up the iPhone production, and now you're passing out 100 million iPhones to Americans. If 1 million of those iPhones all have problems, then now you're looking at like a serious chunk of people that are very upset that their iPhone doesn't work. So that's a good point to bring up, is that like as you
correct.
scale up, you have to be more and more and more precise. That's pretty cool.
The answer to that question lies in the Toyota way. So shout out to everybody that caught that book club, because they talk about how they pioneered really reducing that all the way down to like, I want to say it's like 3.2 faults out of 1 million or something. So that's how you do that.
Excellent. We gotta. I forgot that we have that we have some time constraints here on the show, so I'm gonna go ahead and toss it over to Cass. Cass, how believable do you think that this system is inside this book? Scale of 1 to 100.
I really have no clue. I have not been able to test any of the theories that they come up with yet.
Well, did anything in the book resonate with you? Do you know your blood type?
Yes, I do now, but for the most part, everything in here seems self-explanatory to me. I don't know that I necessarily believe that these things would hinge on blood types. I find that a little bit hard to believe, if I guess if that's the simplest way to put it, because it just seemed like common knowledge stuff. Eat meat, eat veggies, don't eat a lot of grains. That was basically like across the board. That was kind of what I said to everybody, even the ones that were able to be more grain heavy. It was still like, moderate yourself. And it's like, okay, yeah, well, duh, that's what we've heard our whole lives. So I don't know. It seemed like very kind of generic, basic advice, but I haven't also tried it. So maybe if I try going only red meats, I will do that and be like, oh my God, this is absolutely true. You know what I mean? So testing the theory, I haven't really done yet, so I can't really give this a solid number, at least not fairly.
Okay. So have you noticed? Did you notice anything like so I read this book I think 4 or 5 times, or listened. I consumed this book 4 or 5 times, and as I went through it, I stopped paying attention to anything that wasn't my blood type. So for the folks, I'm A positive is my blood type. So I was paying attention to the A blood type stuff, and it was basically just like, hey, you got to be a vegetarian, and I'm like, oh, this fucking sucks. But as I paid more and
Yeah,
more
Will,
attention,
you're doomed to a life of vegetarianism
I
and yoga.
know, eating fucking tofu and doing yoga, but like I started thinking about it, bro, and it's like I really don't like doing crazy strenuous exercises, and it was describing like that stuff for like the O positive people. They get a lot of like kick out of that. I'm sure, you know, everything. I put this book. I'm at about a 50 or 60% as well. It's pretty much same thing as you guys. Like I probably I noticed a little bit of anecdotal stuff that applied to me when they were describing the A-type diet, and they were specifically listing off vegetable types, different vegetable types that are good and different ones that are bad. And I'm like, those are all the vegetables that I like, and those are all the vegetables and nuts that I don't like. And I was like, holy shit, like they hit it like as far as preference goes, they hit it like dead on the money. And I was like, I fucking love meat, you know, I love eating steaks, I love eating chicken, fish, all that stuff. But one of the things that they had mentioned in the book was that like like a blood people, they get very sluggish and slow after eating like a heavy meat meal, and that's something that I've noticed when I started doing carnivore, is after after a especially if I was doing like one meal a day, you know, the OMAD stuff where you eat like 1 hour out of the 24. After I would eat like, you know, two steaks and like a dozen eggs or whatever, I'd be like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna, you know, and perhaps that's just because it's, you know, two steaks and a dozen eggs or some shit. But like after a long day of tower climbing and then like I have a single meal, it's like I just immediately like fucking dropped me. And I noticed it a lot when I was staying up at my father's place because we went basically carnivore, is that I would get really sluggish after every meal. And so I don't know if that's like true for everybody, but like a lot of the things that they said in the book, specifically to my blood type, resonated with me. And like talking about like I should eat a lot of broccoli. I'm like, hell yeah, I fucking love broccoli with like the olive oil and the like the all the stuff that they were recommending. Stay like as far as like the stuff within the vegetable pairings go, it was like they said stay away from these vegetables, and it was all the ones that I like that I don't enjoy eating that are terrible, and all the vegetables they were recommending is like, oh, these are all the vegetables that like just resonate with me that I like. And maybe I'm just like a walking meat bag with a chemistry set that makes my decisions for me, right? And I just fall into this predetermined path or something. But I don't know, man. I thought there was an awful lot of coincidences in there. Have any of you guys tried any of the stuff that was in the book? Have any of you guys like done different diet types before, or did anything work for any of you guys?
Well, you know, it's kind of funny because I was already sort of noticing these types of things before the book, and the book was like, oh, somebody actually noticed that and is confirming that I'm not crazy. You know, for me, like red meats, shellfish, you know, those really thick, hard, what do you call it? You know, really dense meats just don't resonate with me at all. But on the same coin, the like really dense, like produce doesn't really
Yeah.
do very well with myself. And I think it's interesting because one of my favorite meals is surf and turf, right? So it's going to be like a nice big juicy steak with a lobster or shrimp or something, and then tons of broccoli or asparagus to go with it. And after that meal, every single time I get gassy, bloated, and just sluggish as all hell. It just does not do well with myself.
Zenith, have you noticed anything, or Cass?
I have not really noticed a whole lot when it comes to the type of food that I eat. I've definitely noticed more in my life when it comes to the amount of food that I eat, specifically talking about like caloric intake. So there have been points in my life where I've been a like peak performance level athlete pretty much like a year round. And shoot, I remember back when I was running track in college, like at dinner time and stuff, I would like everybody get like a plate, maybe a little side and a drink or something. I would go get like 3 plates worth of food, like 3 cups of milk, devour all of it. And then in the evening, also still feel a little bit hungry just because I was just doing so much that I needed that much. But now that I'm older in life and we're in a little more sedentary at the desk jobs, shall we say, I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it fluctuates. So as far as the type of food goes, no, I haven't really noticed anything crazy. But at the same time, though, I haven't really deviated a whole lot. But that's what I got.
Nate, I wanted to ask you because I needed to find my notes from what you were saying. But you had mentioned surf and turf. Do you think that you're type B? Is that the one that that you think that you categorize into? Because I remember that was
interesting. You went and said that, right?
yeah.
Because I can tell you right now that what has always worked for me is like fish, right?
Yeah.
Fish, as far as meats go, fish or like, not as dense types of meats, like perhaps lamb or something.
Yep.
Always like it's perfect. I don't feel anything. In fact, I feel more energized if nothing else. But then usually like steamed or cooked vegetables, and usually like less dense types of vegetables. Something like say some sort of what is it? Spinach or some sort of lettuce or something
Leafy
like
greens.
that. Yeah, leafy greens tends to do quite a bit better.
Vitamin K, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's funny too because I don't actually know my blood type, but going based off of like what the book is telling you, and what I've come to confirm works with me and definitely does not work with me. It's like it was funny because I was like, well, how come seafood works really well with me, but like the only ones that doesn't would be like lobsters and crab and shrimp. And as I was saying that, while she was talking about type B, she was like, you'll do really well with seafood except for shellfish. And I'm like, oh. Just keep checking it off.
That's awesome.
It off.
I mean, it part of me thinks like this could be the same sort of like anecdotal, like, oh, it's totally describing me, just like horoscopes. And it's like I don't know, maybe this is the horoscope of blood types and diets and things where like everybody can be described using the things that describes a Pisces, or everyone could be a Taurus. It's like, oh, I'm brave and I do cool things and I hang out with friends and I also like eating fried chicken. It's like, yeah, those are great things to do. And you just describe a bunch of good things as like the different astrological signs and stuff. But
yeah, that's kind of
yeah, I was gonna throw it to you, Cass. What you got?
That's kind of what I was getting at earlier, Will, when we're talking about like the believability of the book. All of it just seemed too generic to me to really put like a stamp of approval on it being like, yes, this is definitely true. But I mean, I guess if I really think about it, Nate and I went on like a steak cook, and I told you about that, Will, because we used your method of cooking steaks, and I started just like making all kinds of different steaks with it, because usually we eat prime, but I started making like the regular stuff too, because I wanted to see how it compared with like the new cooking method. And then I tried like fillets and New York strips, just all the different kinds of steaks basically. And so we had like steak just for like a week straight, and it made I thinking back on it now, I did feel less sluggish like after we'd get done eating. I also tended to like stop eating, like I started to get fuller faster type of a
Yeah.
thing. Because one of my things is I just kind of like I just eat to clear the plate. Like I don't like leaving food on the plate. I don't like wasting food, and it's a bit problematic because I don't always need to eat all the stuff that's on my plate. But with the steak, it was like easier to kind of give that up and be like, oh, I'll just put that in the fridge for later.
Yep.
So I guess it would probably be that it felt more satisfying, and just kind of kept me going throughout the rest of the day. Didn't really have like as many like, oh, I want to snack on things, or like, drink a bunch of like sugary drinks or anything like that. So maybe there is something to it. I mean, I'm still highly skeptical because it's just so generic. It's hard to believe, but maybe there is something to it, and maybe it's worth giving it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, just like writing down the because like I took the things that they were, because in the book they basically just list everything off, like B diets, avoid corn, buckwheat, lentils, peanuts, sesame, gluten, red meat, chicken, shellfish, tomato. Like they all had a list of like don'ts and then a list of like do's, or things that would be helpful or non-helpful. So I just started writing them down, and I was like, oh, this is like an interesting series of facts and things. And it looks like Dr. Allen has come up to, what's that? What? Oh yeah. So we actually have Dr. Allen Chen here. Doctor, if you don't mind joining me, I'm gonna pass him over the microphone, and we'll hear a little bit from Dr. Chen. So here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up.
Special guest appearance by Dr. Allen Chen. Hey guys.
The health expert.
I'm working right now from home, so just Friday night, making some money. Anyway, so disclaimer: I did not read the book. Let's just put it out there. But we'll hit on the head with this. Could sounds horoscopy, and I'll just say this. I mean, give it
That's an accurate.
it's not. There's not a whole lot of downside to giving it a shot. And if it works for you, great. Everybody's different. However, nutrition is very multifactorial. It depends on your culture, depends on what other diseases you may have, it depends on a whole bunch of things. And just trial and error is always the best thing. You may not be suited for carnivore, not everybody is, but just listen to your body at all times and see what works and what doesn't work. Write things down. It's great. And also be aware of a very hidden mitigating factor with a lot of these foods is pesticides, and sources of meats is a big deal. They're finding all sorts of dumb shit in there that could be affecting you one way or the other. So think about that as well, the quality of your food as well. So I feel like just kind of listening to the summary, it kind of oversimplifies things. But I'm not saying don't try it. It's if something you want to try, it's something that you can or you're interested in doing, go ahead. And it could work for you. Great, fantastic. But everybody, just know that everybody's different and results may vary. So that's my 2 cents about that.
Much appreciated. Dr. Chen, what are your thoughts on, instead of maybe going like whole hog and just doing like a carnivore diet, what about the idea of an elimination diet?
Real quick, what does that mean?
So elimination diet is like maybe 2-3 week stints at a time. You cut out one particular kind of food and then take notes on your body and see what's going on. One of the ways that this works well is that it's kind of like troubleshooting, but for your body. So you're removing single factors at a time to determine if that single factor is having positive or negative effects.
I do the reverse, actually. I start with a very basic beef and eggs, and then I add. So I do the exact opposite.
Okay.
But hey, I mean, as long as you are properly assessing, that's pretty scientific, actually. Like you're taking out a variable and seeing what happens. As long as you treat everything else the same, then yeah, I mean, that's worth a try. And again, experiment, have fun with it too. Like sometimes, especially with the more stricter diets, like keto, for example, can be very strict. Have some fun with it too, and it'll keep you interested and keep you engaged with it, because it's a lifelong process. It's nutrition, exercise, it's lifelong. It's not temporary. Diets make it seem like it's temporary. That's why I don't like to use the word. I like to use the word nutrition. But just keep learning and keep learning about your body and how it reacts to things, and also pay attention to what's going on with our food.
For sure. Have you also
that's another
noticed?
rabbit hole.
Absolutely. I mean, there's the classic meme of like my grandfather full of lead, my father full of asbestos, me full of microplastics, all looking at each other. Yeah. But I wanted to ask, as people get older, are there any things that you've noticed, like as a general trend of like your body's needs change as you get older or over time? Like, are there any key things that you've noticed?
So you tend to lose muscle mass, you tend to lose bone structure. So I highly recommend for the elderly to increase your protein intake to maintain that, and obviously continue moving, continue staying engaged. If you're retired or not, keep your mind fresh, keep it going, do something. It doesn't have to be the job you're retired from. It could just be being involved with your kids or a side hustle or whatever. Things that you want to do, just keep your mind engaged and keep your body engaged, and then increase your protein content, because you tend to lose muscle mass, and especially in an elderly age, losing muscle mass is not good. Actually, a lot of longevity indicators, it's a big deal, is lean muscle mass. So especially when you're older, keep tabs on that for sure.
I like it. And then I guess final question from Uncle Z here. Do you have any strong feelings about creatine either way?
I think I said this before in a podcast, right? About creatine. Oh, you're not. You can't hear. You can't hear. You talked about creatine.
Oh, creatine.
Yeah. Okay, I said this before. Yeah. So the question that was posed to me was, if I were to pick one supplement out of anything in the entire world, what would it be? And my answer would be creatine.
And
Yeah.
is creatine just for boys?
No, it's for.
There you go.
You have no idea what we're saying, do you?
No, I can't hear anything that's going on right
now. Yeah, you're only hearing 50% of the conversation right now. But anyway, it supports muscle development. It's especially for actually one of the underrated things is also for brain health too. Just the short version of that. But all important things, especially for longevity as well. Yeah. So.
Love it. Well, hopefully we can finally crush the myth that for ladies, if they take creatine, they'll get jacked immediately.
Not really, no. Yeah, no, and it also there was a rumor that it hurts your kidneys. Not really. Obviously, if you have kidney disease, yeah, be careful. But at any rate,
can you read, Mrs. Producer? Can you bring up Agent J's most recent comment about the handful of 60+ powerlifting?
I'll read it out for the audience here. He says, I've had a handful of 60+ powerlifting clients. Know what they don't have issues with? Muscle atrophy, deterioration of bone mass or density, or cognitive decline. There you go, folks.
Even if you're elderly, even if you're elderly, you can still do some weight resistance training. I don't know why that's so downplayed, but yeah, why not? I see 90-year-olds fucking crushing it in the deadlift. Like, damn. So I wish to be them when I'm 90, or if I'm 90. Well,
for sure.
Knock on wood. So yeah, awesome. I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks guys for having me.
Dr. Chen, always a pleasure.
Dr. Chen, we appreciate it. Also, goodbye, Nate. Adios, amigo. I know he had to bounce out around the top of the hour mark.
His computer literally kicked him out.
Oh no!
Right, well, let's get him back on here, and we'll give him his outro, and then we will probably close up stream. Folks, we're doing a little bit of a shorter stream tonight. We're doing a redo of the Pulse Chain Tour conference with Nate and Fast Abdul and a few other folks. There were some technical issues, so we figured, why not just do it again? Because it was a good one. So after this, go check out Discourse Syndicate. That's where that's going to be hosted.
It's not on the Pulse Chain Conference YouTube channel. It's
on the Pulse Chain Conference YouTube channel. They're trying to shift foot traffic over to that channel right now, so they're putting them out exclusively over there, as far as I understand.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, tell you what, folks, check out both, and one of them will be right. Doesn't hurt to try all the keys. It just reminds me of like somebody hands you like a ring of keys, and he's like, "Here you go. This unlocks the door." And they're like, "What key is it?" It's like, "Bro, there's 5 keys. You can figure it out. You'll get there eventually if you want in the door." So let's go ahead and start wrapping up thoughts on the book. Do you guys think that you're going to do you plan on implementing any of the information to kind of tee off of what Dr. Chen was saying? Are there any changes that you think you're going to make, or are you going to like dip your toes into things a little bit here or there? What's your thoughts?
The only changes that I'm going to make are the changes that I've already planned out at this point. It's not that the book, I don't think, makes good arguments. It kind of actually falls in line with what I'm already doing. I'm trying to do a very high protein heavy diet. I'm blood type O. Talks about that. Talks about strenuous activity. Also trying to do that a little bit more. We may have gotten into our thick boy era as we have crossed over that 30-year-old boundary. So it's time to go on a cut and looking to shed some poundage. So I'm going to be looking more at caloric intake and keeping up physical activity. That's what I'm going to be doing.
Excellent. I like it. Mrs. Producer, are you going to be making any changes based on this? Based on the book based on the information in the book, is there anything that you think is going to be helpful, or that you're going to like dabble in or test out and see?
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning in more in kind of like Z, same kind of idea. I'm going to be leaning more into the meats and eggs category moving forward here. I hope to coordinate with people like Dr. Alan Chen. I don't know if he's watching, but if he is, I will be sending you a message on Telegram soon to discuss these things and see if maybe we can work something out kind of with dietary advice and mentorship type stuff. So I'm hoping to do that. And there are some other people I want to talk to as well. I talked to Corey Geary at the Pulse 369 tour, and he's very interested in the way he put it is setting me up with peptides. So that will be also something that I will be looking into in the future. When it comes to like specifically with this book, other than just kind of, I was already planning to do the meat thing. So it's not like the book caused that, but kind of, causation effect type of a thing. So I guess I will say yes, and we'll just credit it towards the book at this point, because that would be a nice thing to do. Also, Nate is really fighting with his computer, so I don't think he's going to make it back. But if you guys want to like get final word from him, I can hand him my headset. So just let me know.
Oh, we could do that. Yeah. I'll make sure to drop the links and things for him. But when we're doing, actually, yeah, why don't you go ahead, if you don't mind, go ahead and hand him the headset, and when I hear he's there, I will ask him the same questione.
Okie dokie. Here you go, honey. They want you to finish up.
It's so convenient just having cool folks like right next to where you're at. I can just throw Doctor Chen.
Alrighty.
Hey, Nate, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
We do it live, broski. Do you think final thoughts on the book? Do you think that there's anything that you're going to do differently, or any of the stuff that they talk about in the book that you might try out?
Yeah, to be fair, I kind of felt like this was more of a confirmation for myself. Now, I'm not going to give up my surf and turfs. That's just my favorite thing in the whole wide world, even though I get sluggish and gassy afterwards.
Hey, there you go.
It's definitely something I want to try and like almost force my body to get used to, right? That kind of intake of protein. And if you eat something long enough, right, your body will adjust. So that's definitely something that I'm going to be focusing more on. However, I do this book kind of confirmed to me that like my strong point is definitely going to be like poultry, not excluding chicken, right? Other types of poultry though, and fish especially. Not necessarily the shellfish, but I've always had a love for fish, especially salmon, right? And I think this has just kind of encouraged me to basically go ham wild with the fish. So that I should be eating a lot more of those types of fish, I would say. And I think that's how I'm going to be living my lifestyle from now on.
Excellent. I like it. I think I might be taking a stronger approach than everyone else in this panel. Nate, if you wouldn't mind, actually, Nate, do you want to stay on for us to do the final shout outs and things, and then pass it back to Cax for that part?
Yeah, whatever she would want.
Okay, excellent. I am going to actually, if you can go ahead and pass it back to her now, I'm gonna talk about my thing, and then I will do a round of chat shoutouts, and then as we're doing the outro thing, we'll toss it right back to you. It won't take terribly long. But I think that I'm gonna take a slightly different approach than or a slightly more extreme approach than a lot of you guys. I'm going to be implementing a lot of the stuff having to do with the lean more into the vegetarianism stuff, because simply the things that they listed as far as vegetables to eat, I'm going to be eating more of them and eating less of the ones that they talk about like avoiding and things. So I don't know if I'm going to give up meat totally. I'm going to keep eating meat and just deal with that. But like I'm going to be definitely doing a whole lot more of the vegetable stuff that they talk about, and maybe toning down the meat consumption a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. But I definitely want to try that. And I've also noticed that like I've never really liked the strenuous workout. So I might try a little bit of yoga. I might do a little bit of meditation. I've already been into the whole Wim Hof breathing thing, and that's super awesome and fun. And I've done yoga several times in the past before, but I've always noticed that I like the more like longer stretched out endurance type light workout sort of thing. So like when I was doing the walking and swinging the mace around, that sort of thing, or like climbing on a tower all day. That's like a long workout. That's not like bursts of energy or things like that. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Mrs. Producer, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Let's do one final quick round of chat shoutouts, because I see that we've had some folks hop on in, and then we will move to close, and we'll toss it to Nate first for running away. So real quick, with the chat shoutouts, I want to thank you guys also for hopping on in here and joining us. But it looks like first and foremost for the chat shoutouts, we've got our good friend Moonpilled Rational Optics with a 50-50 shot. You're only wrong half the time. You're absolutely right, Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics. Another real life friend of mine. Good to see you, broski. Welcome. Next up, we've got Jemmy. I have not read the book, but as far as the diet based on blood type, I could partially agree. I am type O, and I do better with protein, especially fish protein. Fills me up faster and is better tolerated. This is good to know, Jemmy, and that's directly in line with the O type blood stuff. So whether it's horoscopy or not, it sounds reasonable based on what the book was saying. Next up in the chat shoutouts, we've got Psycho Crypto 032. Carnivore for the win. Yes, I wish I could do carnivore. I mean, you know what? Fuck it. I can still do carnivore. No one's stopping me. I'm not going to listen to a fucking book if I don't want to. But yeah, carnivore for the win. Carnivore diet is that it's a fantastic time. Tastes delicious, and I fucking love it. So good to see you, Psycho. Welcome, welcome. And then finally, we've got Agent J. Life is about finding something you can maintain forever. If you're going to be miserable without surf and turf, then keep it in. I agree, good sir. And that's why it's always good. I'm not going to say do drugs. Don't do drugs, guys. That's bad. Never do stuff that you like. Always do the stuff that keeps you alive the longest and that you enjoy the most. Get the maximum like delayed gratification plus immediate gratification. Find your own little line. Surf your way through life. It'll be excellent. It'll be awesome. That does it for chat shoutouts. Mrs. Producer, can you go ahead and toss it over to Nate? And I will ask him where the folks
He's
can
actually
find him.
already in the green room on his new thing. So.
Oh, he is? Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and let the folks know that they can find Nate at The Ascending Man on YouTube. That's where he spends a lot of his time. He's also over in the DGen Roundtable Telegram. So if you guys want to hop on over in there, the link to his YouTube channel is, let's see, here it is. I'm going to do the copy paste and then throw
Actually,
it on
guys,
in the throw it on
I
in the
hate to
live
interrupt,
chat.
but I have to go too. They need some help with they're using the same layout that we used for the live stream, and they need me to help get it all fixed up. So I
Okie
gotta run.
dokie. I'm
Sorry.
hopping in the producer chair. So Mrs. Producer, where can
Thank
the folks
you.
find you? What you got going on?
DGen Roundtable Telegram if you want to find me and talk to me for whatever weird reason. And I do have some stuff cooking, but no spoilers. You'll find out soon.
No spoilers. We love it. Excellent, excellent. Hopefully, I can get in the producer chair quickly enough, and we're about to find out what's going to happen when she hops out. But thank you for joining us, Mrs. Producer, and we appreciate you doing the stuff that you do, Mr. Zenith Broski. Where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find me over on Twitter at ZenithDI. My Instagram is the same one as well. Outside of that, we have the Sunday show coming up. We had a lot to talk about considering we didn't do it last week because we were at Pulse Chain Tour, but a lot of stuff going on with the markets and a lot of stuff going on with trade tariffs, the markets, and new inflation data. So we're going to be covering all of that on the Sunday show, 8 p.m. Eastern time, like all of our streams here. And then next week, we are doing, I believe we have special guest lined up for Wednesday. I can't remember who it is right now, but I'm pretty sure that's what we got going on. And then after that, we're back with another book club next Friday as well. So we hope to see you for all those shows. And if not, we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Will, take us out, good sir.
Oh, man. All right. I should probably drop your thing where the folks can find you, x.com/ZenithDI, in case you haven't already said it. There it is. And then I have to remember which tab is producer tab and which tab's the regular one. So let's see. So we've got Mr. Nate McGettick can be found right here. We've got Mr. Zenith DI can be found right here. Why is it not showing? There we go. Now it's showing. Excellent. And then for the folks at home, if you guys don't know who I am or where you can find me, all of my social media can be found off of the Pulse domain will.pls.fyi. You can get my Twitter, you can get my Facebook, Instagram, all the stuff over there if you want to creep my socials and friend request me, or I don't know, send me cookies in the mail or something. That's the best way to do it. will.pls.fyi. You can find everything I do over there. And I suppose, am I doing book club next week? I think I am. I want to say it's Miss Manners. It's that one. Or do you want to do a book club for next week? So we can delay this book. So one more. Do you have anything in the thing? Or I mean, I don't mind hosting the next one. We're doing it. All right, sweet. We're doing it. We have been putting it off for a very long time, haven't we? So for the folks at home, actually, go ahead and make sure you guys check out the DGen Roundtable Book Club. I'll put that in the chickadee chat as well. So that's what we're going to be doing on next Friday. Miss Manners. Oh shoot, Judith Martin. Miss Manners' Guide to Excruciatingly Correct Behavior. So there you guys go. It is a book that does not have an Audible. So this is one of the old ones that you have to read manually or find the PDF. I believe that Cass has already put the PDF in the Telegram for us, so we got something to work with there. And that's all we got. We got the normal shows. You already covered the stuff going on for Wednesday. As far as everything else, I believe that's everything. So that's where you guys can find me. That's what I've got going on in the near future. If you guys are over in Utah, and I know there's some of you over there, if you live next to Cedar City, I would love to come say hi while I'm over there. I am planning on stopping by Vegas and doing some degenerate stuff while I'm over that away. So for all my Vegas amigos, expect to see me if you got time. And that's all that we've got going down for that. So, time for some end of show copywriting. Oh, fuck, I have to get the trigger figure ready as well. Damn, I did not think about that. Okay. So, let's see if I could do this multitask style. Oh no, where did it go? Oh man, I'm getting lost in all my tabs over here. All right, there we go. We're all set, ready to rock and roll. We the debauched, in the pursuit of chaotic and blood type finding harmony, unite to I've been changing the second part of that every single show for something relevant. The last one said SEC blasting harmony. So we the debauched, in the pursuit of chaotic and blood type finding harmony, unite to form a more questionable union and establish strictly unregulated fund to ensure a steady flow of libations and provide for our collective shenanigans, all while promoting the art of bad decision making and securing the blessings of free spirited vibes to ourselves and future party animals, do hereby establish this glorious podcast aimed at indulgence and excess for all who dare to live recklessly. Will you join us and turn down for what? I want to thank all of you for spending your valuable time with us here on the DGen Roundtable. As Agent J often says, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you investing it right here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Will Stevenson, but more importantly, you have been watching the DGen Roundtable. Mr. Producer, go ahead and get that trigger finger ready, because it's time to remind all the folks at home to remember to DGen responsibly.